Okay, so in today's class, we will basically focus on the dopants and their behavior. So in this case, here basically in case of diffusion, how the different diffusant or the dopant can have different behavior. We will be seeing that, and how the internal reacts for different type of dopants. So in this, we will basically focus on the dopants and their behavior while performing the diffusion process. Okay, so in all the cases, whenever we go for a diffusion, we deal with the dopant oxides. Okay, so dopant oxides will be the main source of diffusant or the dopant atoms. Okay, so that dopant oxides will be reacting to a silicon, and with respect to that, a dopant atom will be generated and silicon dioxide will be generated. Okay, so this is the basic process of uh, diffusion. So in diffusion, basically we will be considering some dopant atom and its oxide. Okay, so suppose this is the format, like dopant atom is there, it is having its oxide. So dxy oy type of compound will be there, that will be reacting to silicon. After reaction, it will be giving you out the diffusant or the dopant atom, it will be giving you out. Along with that, it will give you SiO2. So this will be the dopant atom. That dopant atom will react with the silicon, or that dopant atom will be available with that can be react with the silicon surface. Okay. So next that we have obtained is SiO2. So this SiO2 is an oxide layer, silicon oxide layer. So this oxide SiO2 is basically used for providing a uh, out diffusion. We call it the term that is out diffusion. That means whatever atoms diffuse to the silicon surface cannot be taken out or can't go out of the silicon surface. So silicon oxide SiO2, silicon dioxide, will be it will provide a barrier against the out diffusion. It will provide barrier for out diffusion. That means whatever a diffusant are available, diffusant or dopant atoms are available in the silicon surface, has diffused to the silicon surface, that cannot go out. That will be prevented by this silicon dioxide that is generated while reacting with oxide of dopant with the silicon surface. Okay, so this uh, DXOY will be the prime source for the dopant atom. Okay, so that will be this is oxide of dopant, that will be the source of dopant actually. Okay, so this is considered as the source of, this is the source of dopant. Okay. So based on this source, so we have seen in the previous class, there are different type of reactors. Okay, so based on the source, either the source is of liquid or solid or gaseous form, based on that there are different reactors are available for diffusion process. Okay, so if the source that we are considering for the dopant is of the form solid. Okay, so in that solid form of dopant source, what we need to see is we were using quartz tube. In that we have used a platinum bowl was used. On that we have placed the solid dopant, and we have put the gas carrier that will flow to the quartz tube, and that in that the solid dopant that is available in the solid form, that will be flown through this carrier gases, and it will be deposited on the silicon surface, and that complete process will be taking place at high temperature. Okay, so this is how the silicon uh, will be diffused by the particular dopant when the dopant is of solid form. So basically here, this solid sample, whatever solid source is there for dopant, that will be basically here, the solid dopant will be placed to the silicon surface. Okay, so whenever, and this placement will be with the help of carrier gases. Carrier gases that we will be flowing through the tube. Okay, so that will be done in case of solid. So if the liquid type of dopant source is there, here what we will be doing is this place will be gas to the liquid container. Okay, and that gas will bubble this liquid, and that bubble will flow the silicon surface, and there it will be considering the diffusion process. Okay, so here the liquid will be placed in container. So liquid will be placed in container, and it will be bubbled through bubbled through tube. It will be bubbled through the tube using gaseous carrier or carrier gas. So carrier gas will be used for bubbling the liquid, and that bubble will flow to the silicon surface, and there it will be taking diffusion process. Okay, next one is gaseous form. Is or this oxide of the dopant is basically of the form, like it is of the form is gaseous form is there. So in that gaseous form basically will be through inside the furnace directly. So here dopant will directly pass through the furnace or the tube, and then it will react with the silicon surface. Okay, so here when the bubbled liquid will be passing through, that will be passing through the tube using the carrier gases, and that will be passing through the tube in the form of vapor. Okay, so in the form of vapor it will be passing through the tube, and it will be going to the silicon surface, and there will be the reactions taking place. Okay, so the first thing is like the base of this complete diffusion process is, first of all we need a dopant type. Okay, or the source of dopant, either it could be solid, liquid, or gas. In that we need to pass this solid, liquid, or gas dopant source to the silicon surface, and that passing will be done in different ways, and in each we will be using the carrier gases. Okay, and that carrier gases will be taking these solid or liquid or gaseous dopant atoms to the silicon surface, and there some reactions will be taking place. Okay, so now we will see, like if we have passed the uh, dopant source to the silicon surface, then how the reactions will be taking place, we will see the next. Okay, so here we will see the different type of reactions that is going to take place. Uh, the diffusion process is being carried out. So the first thing that we will be the first that dopant basically we will be dealing with is boron. Boron in silicon. If we are going to dope uh, with boron atoms, boron impurity to the silicon, then this boron will be generating a p type of semiconductor. Okay, so once we are going with boron, what type of reactions will be taking place, we will see that. Okay, so here basically when we are going with to deal with the boron, the diffusibility. So whenever the process is going to take place, always that process will be happening with the help of that what is the diffusion coefficient of that particular atom is there. So if it is boron, so what is it is a dopant. So what is the diffusivity of this boron will decide that how fast or how the diffusivity or the diffusion process is going to take place. Okay, so here in case of boron, the diffusibility or the diffusion coefficient is given to be 10 to the power minus 12 centimeters per second at 1150 degrees centigrade. Okay, so this is the temperature at which the diffusion process will be taking place. This is a diffusibility, or we call it diffusion coefficient basically. Okay, so at this is the diffusion coefficient, and so we have seen the profile of the diffusion. Like it will be starting with the N0. This is the concentration of the dopant. Okay, N0 is the concentration at what we call it solid solubility limit. So this is the maximum concentration of the boron that can be possible. So once it is going to take place, the diffusion is going to take place, it will be taking like this. Okay, that means this is the thickness or a depth of diffusion, and this is the concentration of the dopant. Okay, so once we are going to deal with, if the narrow doping is considered, it will be like this. If the dopant concentration is constant, then once it has taken place, the first dopant, the diffusant atoms will reduce, or the concentration will reduce. So it will be like this. Okay, so this is how the different profiles we have seen. So here the maximum value of dopant concentration, that is 4 into 10 power per centimeter cube. Okay, so this is called the solid solubility limit. Solid solubility limit in case of boron as the dopant. Okay, but out of the available 4 into 10 power 20 per centimeter cube atoms or concentration of this boron, not all the atoms are that much electronically active that can go and that can react with the silicon surface. So here not all atoms are electronically active. So out of this total concentration or total atoms available for the body, all the atoms are not electronically active to participate in the reaction. So the active concentration is considered to be the maximum active concentration of the boron dopant, that is concentrate you can say considered to be active for the reactions, is considered to be 5 into 10 power 19 per centimeter cube. So this is the limit. Like why consider only this much of concentration available for reaction A? Concentration is for the reaction is because of the a term called misfit factor. Why it is? Because of, we call it because of misfit factor. Because of misfit factor. Okay. So here we're dealing with, like, we have total active concentration of the pen is available is less than the N naught value, that is salt solubility limit value is there. So it's than that. So this is because of the factor called misfit factor. So this misfit factor is basically defined like if there is any mismatch between the dopant atom or dopant structure or crystal structure and the silicon crystal structure. So it is match. This is because of the mismatch that can occur between between two crystals, or this is because of the uh, spacing mismatch between two, we call it two crystal structure. Okay, so if there is some mismatch between the two crystal structures, then based on that a misfit factor is defined. If misfit factor is 0, that means no mismatch is there. If it is high, it is considered as it is having some sort of mismatch fact. It's having some mismatch in the crystal structure. Because this boron is having some mismatch factor, or we call it this mismatch factor in case of boron is 2.54. Okay, so because of this mismatch factor, the active concentration of boron that is available for reaction with the silicon is considered as this value. Okay, so the reaction that takes place is B2O3 3 silicon that will be reacting and will be generating 3 SiO2 plus 4 boron. So this is this. Okay, so this is the reaction that basically takes place while having fusion of boron atom with the silicon. Okay, so here we see it is generating 4B. That means excess of boron is being generated here. Excess of boron is being generated because when some diffusion is to take place by using this reaction, there is a generation of dark brown layer on the silicon surface. So a dark layer is formed on silicon surface. Okay, so dark brown layer is formed on the silicon surface because of the excess amount of boron atom that is being generated by using this reaction. So this reaction is basically not used practically. Okay, so this reaction is not used practically. We will not be using this reaction for diffusion process in case of boron atoms. Okay, so and down layer that is generated, it is basically a removed. This is removed by oxidizing. Basically, if we are going to oxidize this after diffusion, if we are going to oxidize the surface, it will be removing the brown layer that is generated. This is removed by oxidizing, and when it is oxidizing, it forms borosilicate. Borosilicate glass. This process is very difficult. Like if we are going to use this reaction, excess of boron will be generated, and this will be forming a dark brown layer on the silicon surface. And to remove this dark brown layer of this boron surface, basically we go for a difficult process. So because of this, we will basically not be using this reaction. Okay, so we will go with some other type of boron atom source. Okay, so here suppose a source is a solid source. So if we are considering a solid source of boron atoms, so in that boron nitride is basically used as a solid source, and for boron atoms, and this boron nitride is oxidized, and after oxidizing it, it will be generating B2O3, and this B2O3 the source of for the diffusion. Okay, so this B2O3 that is generated, and through this, if the diffusion is going to take place, that type of diffusion will be for, you can say, very thin layer of boron will be generated. Okay, so if the thin layer of boron need to be generated, then this solid type of source we need to use, and in that this is oxidized, and after oxidizing it will be forming B2O3, and once we have found the B2O3, then this will be the source of this will be the source of dopant. Okay, this is the solid type. The next one is like liquid source. So that liquid source, a liquid is that is trimethyl, we call it TMB, that is trimethyl borate. This trimethyl borate having formula CH3O thrice, it will be reacting with oxygen, and once it is oxidized, this trimethyl borate is oxidized, it will be forming the B2O3, along with that CO2 and H2 it will be forming. So this B2O3 that is generated by using this liquid so boron atom, this will be with the silicon surface, or we call it silicon sample. So once it is reacting with the silicon surface, it will be giving out the diffused silicon surface. Okay, so diffusion will be taking place in that case of liquid source. So some other liquid type of source is there. So in case of boron, if we are going with the liquid source, some other liquid source is there. So another liquid source is boron bromide. Okay, boron tribromide, we call it boron tribromide. It will be forming B2O3, along with that it will be getting the bromine. So here this bromine is an halogen. Okay, so this is tri boron tribromide. So this B2O3 that we have obtained, that will react with the surface. Okay, so here in this case, this boron tribromide as a source of a dopant has some advantage. So we will see what are the advantage and what are the disadvantage. So in this case here, the advantage is basically, if we are going to use this here the halogens that, because these are bromine are the halogen atoms. Okay, halogens are basically used for glittering purposes, as are used as a to clean basically the waste of the diffuse surface, are basically for the glittering surface, glittering processes. This halogens are most frequently used. So if we are going with the boron tribromide bromide, then the byproduct that we are obtaining, this bromide, this bromide will be further used for glittering purposes. Okay. Okay. So for shining, or we can call it for the cleaning of the surface, this bromide can be helpful. So if we are using this type of liquid source in case of boron, it has the advantage like it can be used for glittering purposes or as a glittering agent. It can be used as a glittering. Okay. In terms of disadvantage, if say, so what is the disadvantage is whenever we go for the halogen type of uh, gases for reaction, then the problem is like these halogens are need to be have adequate amount of or adequate facility for venting, like whenever the extra bromide is available, that need to be taken out of the tube. Okay, so there should be a proper venting. So a proper venting is in case of halogen type of uh, source, dopant source, proper venting is required. And also, if extra bromide that is available, so extra halogen is available will cause basically will halogen heating. Okay, so this will be causing halogen heating. Okay, so this heating of the silicon surface will basically cause the heating of the sample that we have taken. Okay, so the heating of the more heating phenomena will be taking place in the device that we are fabricating. We should be taking care of when we go for using a halogen type of compound for the dopant source. Okay, so this is the liquid type of dopant in case of boron, and in the reactor type, once we have were going there, we have seen like the liquid type of reactors are better, having better control than the solid type of reactors, solid source reactors. And similarly, if we go for gaseous type of reactor, if the gaseous source of the dopant is used, then that gaseous type of reactors are basically provide better control in case of the source is having of the form is gaseous. That is, there is a less chance of contamination in case of solid type of dopant source. There was a chance of heavy metal contamination, but in case of gaseous type, it is having less contamination. So we will also see the gaseous type of uh, dopant, basically the gaseous source. So in this gaseous source, this is very easy to handle. That's why they're most frequently, you can say, can be used. Okay, so it is easiest to handle. We call it the of source of dopant is easy to handle, and in this case we will be using B2H6. So this B2H6 we will be using, that will be reacting with the oxygen and it will be generating B2O3. Along with that, H2O it will be generating. This B2O3 is considered very poisonous compound. So this very poisonous compound, if it is very poisonous compound, then we need to handle it with care. And also this B2H6 is an explosive compound is there. So we need to take care while dealing with this type of source of dopant. Okay, so this B2H3 H6 is considered as the, we call it di call it di diborane. Okay, so this diborane is a poisonous compound and also it is an explosive compound. So we should be dealing with care. So here we need to handle this reaction with care so that proper handling can be performed with the help of this type of source of dopant. So here once we have obtained this B2O3, this B2O3 will be reacting with silicon sample. Okay, and then after reacting it will be depositing the boron as the dopant source to the silicon surface. Okay, so in gaseous source, another gaseous source that we can use is boron trichloride that will be reacting with the oxygen and it reacts and form B2O3 plus chlorine gas. Okay, so we know chlorine is also an halogen. If it is halogen, then again in the previous like in bromine case we have seen excess amount of bromine was there, so we need to take care of this excess bromine. And similarly here the excess chlorine is there, so again we used to have a proper venting. So here this uh, requires proper venting and also need whenever we are going with this dealing with this, if we are dealing with this, then Cl2 that is being generated, so we need to control the amount of Cl2 that is being generated, so that if excess amount of chlorine is being generated, then it can cause the diffusion process. Okay, so here the need to control the chlorine amount. Okay, because it is an halogen, once it is going with excess amount, it will be causing the quality of diffusion process basically. And also once it is an halogen, the halogens are basically used as the glittering agent. So here if a small amount of chlorine is available, that will be good, that will be used as a glittering agent. But if it is an excess amount of chlorine will be there, excess amount of halogen will be there, that will be causing the quality of the diffusion process. Okay, so this was the boron dopant in silicon surface. Now we will see the next, that is phosphorus. If we are having phosphorus in silicon, so here in case of boron, we have seen like this boron is providing less concentration of dopant. Whenever go with the boron type of dopant, it will less amount of dopant. So if we go with the phosphorus, as it provides high concentration of dopant or high carrier concentration we can call. So here if where we need a high carrier as the dopant, so it high carrier concentration. Okay, that's why this high carrier concentration, because in case of NPN transistor formation, the emitter need to be have high carrier concentration. Higher doping is required in case of emitter region. For the base region, it is required like the base would be having less carrier concentration. So when we go with the emitter formation, emitter terminal formation, we need to use phosphorus as a dopant. So here this phosphorus is best suited for emitter growth, we can call it. Okay, so general reaction that takes place in case of phosphorus as the dopant, the general reaction is P2O5 reacting with the silicon. Okay, and that will be forming SiO2. Along with that phosphorus it will be forming. So here to balance the reaction, 2 P2O3 will be reacting with 5 silicon and 5 SiO2 will be formed with 4 this. Okay, so here this as the P2O3 as a source, that is a solid source. Okay, so this is, you can call it this, if the solid source is there. So this having the solid source, so this P2O3 directly is not used in case of phosphorus as the dopant. Okay, so this is hardly used. Why? Because this P2O3 that is of solid form is having hydrophobic or hydroscopic type of behavior. Hydroscopic type of behavior, not hydrophobic. So because it is hardly used, because this P2O3 is having a type called hydroscopic type of property is there. That means whenever it is in presence of moisture or in presence of water, it will be reacting with that moisture or water content. So because it is hydroscopic, what it does, it reacts with moisture. Okay, so it will be reacting with the moisture that is present in the environment, and then once it will react with the moisture, then it will basically cause the contamination, get contaminated. So this P2O3 P2O5 that is available as this solid source of the phosphorus, once it reacts with the moisture or the water content, it will get the property change. That means the compound P2O5 will react with the oxygen moisture content that is available in the environment. Then its compound structure will be changed, so it gets contaminated. So that will not be you can say proper source of the phosphorus dopant. So this solid P2O5 as a solid source is hardly used. Okay, the next is a liquid source. So in case of liquid source, POCl3, this is called phosphorus oxychloride. So this is phosphorus oxychloride is used that react with O2, and it will be forming P2O5 plus chlorine. Okay, so here this is phosphorus oxychloride. So this phosphorus oxychloride will be reacting with the oxygen and forming P2O5. So this will be used as source of phosphorus. Okay, so here P2O5 that was the solid form was directly used. So there was some disadvantage, like it get reacted with the moisture content. So now we have used a liquid, and that will be generating the P2O5, and that will, along with that will be behaving as the source of the dopant. And there is an chlorine generation. So this chlorine is again a halogen. So this, if it is halogen, it can be used as the, okay, so it can be used as a glittering agent. Once it is chlorine, it will be used as a glittering agent. Also, if it is halogen, there should, once the excess amount of halogen get deposited or get generated, then that will be an, I can say, causing agent that will cause the diffusion quality of the diffusion. So that there should be a proper venting is required if it is generating the halogen type of element. Okay, so once this reaction is generating the halogen, we need to have the proper venting also. Okay, some other type of reactions, so similar to this phosphorus, we can use phosphorus tribromide also. So we can use PBr3, and that will react with the oxygen, and it will be forming P2O5 plus bromine. Okay, so this is again, it is generating this halogen. So once it is generating the halogen, it can be used as glittering agent. And to have less amount of bromine, we should be having proper venting process, or venting is required in this case also. Okay, so this is the liquid source. The next one is the gaseous source. So in this gaseous source, we use for the gaseous source we use PH3. This PH3 is called phosphine. So phosphine can be used as a source of this phosphorus, and that will be reacting with O2, and it will form P2O5 plus H2O. So this phosphine is basically uh, very toxic compound. So there is a need of proper handling. So proper care is required. Okay. So when we are using the gaseous type of source, phosphine, so we need to have the proper source. Then with respect to that, the proper handling should be required in case of phosphorus handling case. Okay. So this up to this, we have seen the bromine, that is boron, and phosphorus as the dopant. In the next class, we will see this arsenic. Okay, or just a minute, we can see. So in the arsenic case, so next one is the arsenic. So we will be using arsenic as the arsenic in silicon. So here the arsenic is having the misfit factor of 0. The misfit factor in case of arsenic is 0. That means the arsenic and silicon crystals structure is very much similar. Okay, so the diffusion with respect to arsenic in this silicon will be such that there will be as Misfit factor is 0, then all the crystal structure is similar. Then we will be having the highest amount of arsenic. We can go with the deposition, that means high concentration or higher thickness of this dopant can be deposited on silicon surface if we go with arsenic type of dopant. Okay, here, but its diffusion coefficient of arsenic is lower than the boron and phosphorus, that is 1/10 of boron or phosphorus. Okay, so around 1/10 of boron and phosphorus is the diffusion coefficient of arsenic. And here the reaction that takes place is arsenic As2O3 react with silicon. It will be forming arsenic and SiO2. Okay, so this is how the reaction takes place. But for this reaction, there is some factors that need to be taken. So some factors that need to be taken care if we are going to deposit arsenic concentration on the silicon surface, then some proper care need to be taken in case of arsenic as a dopant. So the first is like arsenic. The arsenic is very much reactant with the oxygen. So the arsenic, the surrounding, or we call it the surrounding of arsenic should not have oxygen. So oxygen should not be there in the surrounding of oxygen, because in the surrounding of arsenic, because arsenic react with oxygen very easily. So we should be avoiding this. That means the reaction, that this reaction in case of diffusion will not be taking in open environment. That's why it's considered in these reactions takes place in inert environment. Okay, so this reaction will be taking place in the inert environment. And also this arsenic is very much volatile material. It is volatile material. So when it is a volatile material, that means once it is diffusing to the silicon surface, it is very easy to diffuse out also. Okay, so it gets diffused. Okay, as it is having a volatility, very much volatile material, it is, then it is it takes the process of diffuse out. That means it takes it atom diffuse out of the silicon surface structure. So this will say like once the diffusing out is going to place, then the diffusion decided by the amount of diffusion. So once some diffusion has taken place and some dopants diffuse out of the silicon surface, so what amount of diffusion has taken place, that will be decided by the diffusion that is taken place. Okay, so here we call it the diffusion will be basically decided by the out diffusion that is taken. So once diffusion has taken place, after diffusion has taken place, because arsenic is a volatile material, it diffuses out. So what amount of the arsenic diffuses out, that will be decided that will be deciding factor of the quality of diffusion or the amount of diffusion. Okay, and that's why this is very difficult to achieve a diffusion concentration that is less, that is more than 10 to power 19 per centimeter cube. So here, to achieve a higher concentration of this arsenic diffusant, it is very difficult. So it is difficult to achieve diffusion concentration of 10 to the power 19 per centimeter cube. So as our diffusion takes place, so higher diffusion concentration cannot be taken out by using this reaction that we have obtained. So there is a separate process, separate reaction that takes place for this type of arsenic type of diffusion, that is called spin on source. So this is spin on source. So spin on source means what we are going to do is, in the liquid form, the arsenic that is having more volatility. So in the liquid form, the arsenic is put into a silicon surface, and that is rotated with the high rotation, and that will generate a layer of this arsenic, and then that layer is baked into a chamber that will generate the you can say diffusion that will deposited on the silicon surface. So this is process of called spin on process. So in spin on process, what we do is we take an organic compound arsenic that is of the form called, that will be of a liquid form, and this few drops of uh, arsenic will be few drops of arsenic dropped on silicon surface. Okay, this process is considered as room temperature only, and then it will be spin at high speed. High speed it will be spin. Once we are spinning, a thin layer of arsenic liquid, or thin layer of liquid coating will be generated. Okay, so once we are rotating, a thin layer of that liquid will get coated on the silicon surface, and then it will be baked at around 250 to 240 to 250 degrees centigrade, 242 to 250 centigrade. We will be baking it. That is considered as a low temperature. So it means at low temperature we will be baking this. After baking, a layer of arsenic will be deposited on the silicon surface in the form of arseniosilicate glass. Okay, so in the form of arseniosilicate glass, it will be formed, and then it will be heated. Uh, it will be heated in a furnace at high temperature. So I will be heating it, because this arseniosilicate glass is having the compound. This arseniosilicate is basically consists of As2O3 plus SiO2. Okay, so here some organic compounds are also available. So we will be hitting, once we will be hitting some organic compound that is available, that will get taken out. So this, after hitting, we can have the arsenic, and that arsenic can be deposited on the silicon surface, and high concentration of arsenic can be deposited. So previously we have seen the previous reaction. So in this previous reaction, there was a chance, like as it is volatile, there is a chance like we are unable to deposit the higher concentration of arsenic. So now in case of spin-on type of source, we can have high concentration of arsenic can be deposited on the silicon phase. Okay, so till now the three dopants. Next topic we will see in the next class.